Hey everybody, good evening. Welcome to yet another Edgy live stream. Glad you can stop in and check us out and stay with us for the next hour. We're going to break down several things. Good thing there's nothing going on these days, huh? Yeah, that's far from it. Certainly, whether we're talking IHSA sports or sports in general and life in general. Yeah, it's been kind of busy. Appreciate you joining us. And of course, I also appreciate this handsome fella right next to me here in the box. I got to decide. I had a problem with this say. Is it left or right? I can't tell, but that handsome fella right there. The one, the only, the coach, Joe Rodeghero, joining us. And Joe, welcome back. And yeah, good thing it's been slow, huh?
Yeah, well, of course. Well, not only that, but what's going on even in Washington, D.C. today. I mean, it's never a dull moment here. Never a dull moment.
Life is exciting in a pandemic, which you never thought you'd say that, but there's plenty going on.
Oh, yeah.
We are expecting Jeff Reents to join us. Jeff texted me a little while ago. He's kind of in between internet stations, so we're going to let him get reconfigured and everything and ready to go. And as soon as he hops on, he will join us. But Joe, I know that we've got a few personal things we need to get to, and I know you wanted to get to this, and I saw it as well. Unfortunately, someone you're very close to, their father passed away a few days back.
Yeah, and Bob Boss, longtime coach, just a great guy. I mean, always around, even though he retired, and always around Joliet Catholic watching baseball games. And I've known Bob a long time. I mean, probably as long. Well, Jared I've known since I coached him. And that's when I got to know Bob and Chris. And my condolences out to his wife, Chris, and the family, the boys, Jared, who's, of course, the head coach at Joliet Catholic, Jonathan, who was a state championship quarterback, I think in '87, I think it was. I believe so. And Joe was a unbelievable golfer. He's a pro at Idlewild or Idlewild or whatever they call it out there.
Idlewild, yeah.
Idlewild. But yeah, just a great guy. And just, I mean, just looking at him again, started at Lamont High School, believe it or not. And went to Marian Catholic, started the program in the early 70s. Dave Mateo, as we talked off air a little bit, taught him the ropes. And I don't know if you know this. I think you do, Edge. And I know we make fun of it. The press box was Bob Voss's. It's the Bob Voss press box. I swear to you.
Wow.
We call that the stairway to heaven.
Yep.
And he probably put that old wooden one piece, but they did straighten it out though.
You got to explain that a little bit, because that's kind of like a running joke with this show. And anyone that's ever had to climb up those stairs at Marian Catholic to cover a football game up that press box.
You made the sign of the cross.
Yeah,
up there.
We jokingly refer to it as a stairway to heaven because it was literally straight up. Like how high? It seemed like it was forever.
150 feet. It seemed like you kept looking up. You never want to look down. You never want to look down.
And the best. And Dave Dwyer used to talk about it. Remember when Dave Margliano was cover a game there?
Yeah.
And we kept telling him about, hey man, be ready for that press box because that climb is scary.
Yeah.
And he thought we were pulling his leg. And then when he came back, he said, you know what? You guys are dead on. That was a scary climb up that press box.
When Marks had to carry all that camera equipment up there to do the live feed, I told him, I said he better have a parachute on because the ladder, again, if everybody knows what I'm talking about, if you're a Marian Catholic fan.
Or media or whatever.
It was a wooden ladder, and it was the length. I don't know how they got it that big. I've never seen one that big other than maybe a fire department, but that's on a hook and ladder. And you had to literally straight up, and there was nothing holding the ladder up there.
No.
I mean, if you started.
It was windy.
Yeah, you're done.
You're rocking.
You're right. So when Dewey and Scott and I did a Joliet Catholic, Marian Catholic game, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, they did change it. They put some wrought iron, but what they did was they put the stairs up one way, and then they had a landing where you could rest, literally rest, and then you climbed up the rest of the way. So when I was in the press box, I was talking to one of the coaches up there, the guy running the clock. No, excuse me. And those guys know the history of the football program they're at. And he says, it's the Bob Voss press box. It was an old rail car. It was like a box car.
Yeah. Yeah.
That they just literally nailed to some unbelievable tall telephone poles.
Awesome.
And that was it.
It was awesome.
And it,
well, again,
he went to Lockport and coached many years. St. Francis, University of St. Francis, and Joliet Catholic. So a true gentleman. He's going to, excuse me, I got the hiccups. I had to take a drink of water.
You better lay off the booze once you get home from work, Joe. Come on now.
I don't drink during the week. I told you that.
Just one glass.
But a true gentleman, a great guy. Love to talk to him. He always had kind words to say about everybody. Just an unassuming type of guy. But he was a value of talent, a world of value of talent in him.
Yeah, and again,
he's going to be missed.
Our condolences out to Jonathan and everyone in the Voss family. Just sad to see that. So, all right, our guest is waiting in the green room, so we are going to bring him in. We are thrilled. He was able to figure out his internet, and look at that. He looks fantastic. Look at that connection.
No, he may be drinking something.
No, I got water, Joe.
Who says there's not good internet in Wilmington? Look at that. It's fantastic.
I'm telling you what, this tech stuff, I'm telling you, I'm glad you guys are better at it than I am.
No, don't say too much here.
We would have, Jeff, first of all, that's Jeff Reents from Wilmington joining us. The scruffy Jeff Reents. That's a little bit different look for you.
Yeah, we the daughters wanted me to grow it, and my youngest daughter put it pretty easy. She says, well, the virus is in, you guys are out of school, so before anybody can see you, why don't you try to grow it? Oh, thank you. So as long as the virus is going on, I'm gonna keep it. So we'll see what happens though.
Appreciate you taking time, and by the way, we would have been doing these a year ago, but it took me that long to get Joe online. So
oh yeah, I kept freezing all the time, Jeff. Don't worry about it.
That's all right.
We got to figure it out.
Guys have
well, Jeff, since you're with us, and again, we just appreciate you stopping in. This is something that Joe and I just felt like we had to do. You know, we hadn't seen you guys for a year. There's still plenty going on with and obviously today. Good thing nothing's been going on lately. So we had a board meeting today, and it's still one of those where we just want to talk to you guys. We miss talking to you guys, and we miss doing the show on WJOL on Thursday nights, and just thought, well, you know what, let's try to stay in touch and see how everyone's doing. So again, thanks for hopping in.
Yeah, no, hey, I appreciate it. It's a tough time for everybody. Every time I think to myself, we just got to have patience with this, and then another day of we got to have patience with this, and then you get today and you're hoping for some news, and you got to say to yourself again, hey, and I'll have kids come in tomorrow, and they will, they'll read Twitter tonight, they'll see what's going on with it, and it's a tough conversation, guys. You got to tell them again, hey, let's just wait and see what happens. We're not sure, but they know how this is kind of going right now, and it's tough for everybody, but this kind of stuff helps me out though too, guys. You guys are a big part of high school football, particularly in the Joliet area, and for me to be interviewed by you two fine gentlemen tonight, boy, I tell you, makes
cut it out. Who's paying you? Who's paying? That's what I want to know. Who's paying you?
Hey, it's great to talk football though. That's
yes, it is.
Well, it was either you or Dan, and we flipped a coin and you won. So we'll have Dan on next week. So I'm kidding. Dan Hutchins, Coal City. We will have you soon. Well, Joe, I think we kind of, and again, thanks to Crazy Anthony. And by the way, everyone that watches this show, I think automatically has to have Crazy in front of their name. I think that's got to be a requirement.
First of all, you have to be crazy listening to the two of us. That's
absolutely
that's a priority.
So Crazy Anthony with a very good question. What's the news on IHSA today? Someone on my board put it perfectly. They had a meeting to schedule another meeting.
Yeah,
basically.
Much. I couldn't agree with you guys more. You go into this thing too, keeping it you're thinking big picture, we're dealing with a lot of things with the COVID and everything, but, it gets to a point where, as we all know, boys, it affected a lot of people. And, you know what, guys, and I try to keep, like I said, keep big picture in mind. And when your kids are driving on Friday nights to go watch football in Indiana, and then, they're hearing basketball's being played, they're having the wrestling state championships in Iowa. Guys, I mean, it's boy, frustration.
Well, I'm as guilty, Jeff. I'm as guilty as anyone. I have a showcase camp on Monday. Do you know where that camp is? Crown Point, Indiana.
Yeah, well, I get you. Yeah, you got to do what you got to do, and I understand that. And it's just I'm trying to figure it out. I'm sure, like many coaches are, many parents are, and a lot of people are pushing to trying to get us to play. And boy, what some great efforts out there by parents and coaches and you guys trying to figure this thing out. And you got so many people wanting to do great things. We just keep having this.
So Joe, I've got the release in front of me, and I'll go through it just kind of briefly. And there are a couple of important points on this.
Right.
So they're getting back to talking about potentially having contact days. We're kind of on the verge of going from tier 3 to tier 2, which anyone that's in tier 3, and I think in the whole state these days, I don't even know anymore. Anything we can do to start limiting some of these restrictions is wonderful. So, and coaches, if they go to tier 2, the talk is they're going to allow you to have contact days again. Okay. I guess that's something that's better than what's going on now. So I got that positive out of the release. There was also discussed about, let me find it here. Sorry about that, boys. You think I'd be better prepared, but I failed miserably.
They did put some dates down, didn't they, Edge?
Yeah. So basically they rescheduled. They're going to have a meeting, board meeting, a special board meeting on January 27th. And they mentioned about schedules and that depending upon how the next few weeks go, and again, this all refers back to guidance from the governor, Department Board of Health, Public Health. And so a lot of that is going to weigh into this, talking about, well, when we come back for the meeting on the 27th, we're going to have to look at our options. And we have, and I'm trying to find the exact word, but it basically said we have several options when it comes to scheduling. So does that mean there's 2 or 3 options for football and 2 and 3 options for basketball and track and everything else and baseball, Joe? I don't know. No one does. But I found that part of it interesting. So my whole take on this, Jeff, and obviously, and Joe, loved your thoughts. So where we sit right now, we're 33 days from when you're supposed to start the first day of practice, Jeff. Yeah. 33 days, okay? 52 until you're supposed to kick off. And now we've got to wait another 2 more weeks. There's no way this is getting pulled off on February 15th. Do you agree?
It's really tough, guys. I mean, I tell you what, if they do, if it would go through, the coaches and dealing with injuries, making sure their kids are ready to play. I mean, that would just be rushing, trying to get kids in shape. Because I think there's some schools, that can't do some weightlifting conditioning during the day. If it's in their curriculum, things along those lines. But otherwise, I know I'm giving our kids workouts, but they're on their own after school or before school, whatever it might be. Now we're going to turn around and in a matter of 2 weeks, hey, we're going to play football. And we all know that those conditions going out to practice and that is going to be tough too. So now you start talking, okay, how many weeks do you need to have your kids physically ready to play? And guys, also, you guys talking about the scheduling and boy, for a small school, and you're going to have people, are you going to cross over sports? Are we going to make kids choose? Just some of the things that come off the top of my head when you start going through those things.
And Jeff, I mentioned this. We've had coach with this about, I think, our 3rd or 4th meeting, I think, Edge, we had so far. And I've mentioned you at Wilmington and Dan at Coal City, and we talked about the schedule and how that's going to impact you guys. because there's athletes. Like, I just consider the baseball team from last year, Coal City, which nobody got to play anyway. They were going to be a great team, but a lot of those kids played basketball. A lot of those kids played football. And just like I'm sure at Wilmington in the past you have, and maybe there's some players that play 3 sports too, and I'm sure they do at small schools. And just looking at the dates, basketball was supposed to end February 15th or February 13th. If they allow them to start, I mean, they may have less than 25 days of basketball. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. So they're going to push the schedule, like you said. So how impactful is that going to be? And you just said it perfectly, because of the fact of the one thing that we don't want as coaches, and Edgy, I know we don't want the kids to choose. That's why you have special athletes in your systems and at your schools that play 2-3 sports. And it seems like those are the players that don't get hurt much because they use different muscles and different body parts when they are playing. And this is just going to, like you said, Jeff, is going to impact it. You really have to watch the injuries of the kids, because let's face it, they've probably had no contact since last November, and a year ago.
Jeff, when was the last time your kids put pads on?
What? I'm sorry. What was the last time? What?
They put pads on.
So we had contact. We had contact days, and so what we did at Wilmington was, how we broke. Everybody broke up the fall in their own way. Okay.
Right.
So we went right away with football right off the bat in September. And so we had a 3-4 week camp right there. And then the other sports filled in on the way. So our kids took the pads off. We're talking middle to late September. Okay. We had September 20th, I want to tell you. And so right now you're going to put them on. Okay. Which is fine. Okay. We're going to put them on, but for 2 weeks and
yeah.
And then we're going to play. So now you wait 4 weeks. Okay. And again, going back to it, boy, let's not put kids, because, you think about it, our kids have great relationships with a lot of their coaches. Now, particularly in our school situation, you're going to put a kid in a situation where he's going to tell a coach, hey, your sport's not my number one. And sorry, coach, but I'm not going out for your spot. And boy, what a tough gig for the kids. But hey, I get it too a little bit. The IHSA is trying to rescue this, and I give them, a pat on the back too. They're trying, but to put the kids in that spot, guys, I think that's a tough thing.
Again, Joe, and we talk about this, Jeff. I think when you look at the big picture, even from the beginning of this, when we originally heard, we heard in August, we're going to have a 9-game season, 7-game regular season, 2-game postseason. Okay, first of all, I still have private eyes trying to find out exactly who came up with that plan, because it wasn't a football coach who came up with it. If it wasn't a very good football coach, because every coach I talked to said it was ridiculous. So why are they doing this? So there's that. Let's face, and again, I'm not ripping on IHSA. I agree with what you said. They're trying everything they can. They're fighting for their own survival here. But in a time-honored tradition here in the state of Illinois, they did what everyone else has done. They kicked the can down the road when it came to football. They said, "Look, this isn't going to happen. Let's aim for spring." Did anyone really, when they looked at this, thought, you know what, mid-February, it's a good time to go outside in Illinois and practice high school football. That'll work. We've all been here. We know what it's like. Jeff, I love you to death, but I'm not going to Wilmington in mid-February to stand with you to watch snow blowing and 45-mile-an-hour gust on your field. It's not happening.
No. And Ed, I've talked to you 2, 3, 4 times about that during the summer on, and in talking with coaches, you just digest it as you go. But every time you started talking about it with the coach, there's some huge roadblocks there of how are we going to do this? And then at first, hey, we're going to go spring. Well, maybe that's a good idea. And then that second push for late fall, middle fall, maybe that was the time to try to get something done right there.
That was the window right there.
That was the one. Might have been the window, because other states had shown it can be done. No doubt about it. You're going to have to make some adjustments, and then you get to where we're at now. Well, it's tough. It's a tough deal. And, maybe they can pull something off and put it together. But, like I said, the other thing, I think the most frustrating thing with the kids, and both you guys know this, Joe, particularly you with the coaching, you can't fake kids out.
No,
you can't.
No.
You can't. And
no.
and when I talk to the kids, they're looking at me like, Coach, you're being truthful, right? You tell me everything you know, and I'm telling them, yeah, this is all I know. What you know online, what you see online is all I know. And the more you tell them, you start going one way, then you start going another way. Well, we may not play now. Well, now maybe we will. That gets old with the kids in a hurry. You guys know that. And the hope that they're trying to hold on to anything that they can. But boy, don't try to pull the covers over on them and put something out that may not be there.
Well, and Joe, quick, and I know you've got some things you want to add. So now theoretically we're looking at a delayed start, and that's just me. I haven't heard any of this, but I'm just assuming February 5th is going to happen. So we're going to have to push it back. So, the problem is, I mean, just all these other sports that are going to try to get fit in, as we've already talked about, it's going to be an immense challenge. Then, guys, you get to the point where, okay, how much further back do we go? And then we start running into 2021 fall season. So are you going to play 5, 6, 7 games in practice and end in late June and turn around and, be ready to go again? I don't see that happening either.
No, I agree. And I think, I think you bring up some great points there. I think there is, some talk too of some coaches, hey, it is what it is. Tell us the truth. Can we get spring back to the regular calendar and then summer is back to normal?
Yep.
I think you're dealing with one thing, just like you said, hey, can we, if we delay the season, okay, maybe we give our seniors a shot, but if we can't do that, let's not let's try to get back to normal. You guys know this, coaches are, they're used to their schedule.
Yep.
Old guys have been doing it as long as I have. And if they could get back to the IHSA saying, hey, we're going to try to get our spring sports going. We'll try to get everything we can in, and then get the summer calendar going back to normal. I think you got something going there. But, first and foremost, by all means, if we can try to get something going, let's try to get them seniors in. But, it's tough, like I said.
Jeff, my question is, let's say they kick this down, and let's say you go till your season might end, let's say the middle of May. Okay, let's say it ends. The football goes till May and it interlocks with baseball or whatever. That's not my question. As far as equipment is concerned, you've been a coach a long time. When I was the assistant AD under Matt Sefner at Providence, you have to recondition that stuff every year.
Yeah.
How long does that take? At least a couple months, right? I mean, it's because every football team goes. I remember John Struess coming to Providence, and I would help him put all the stuff in bags. He'd carry them out, and we might not get them back until late April, early May. I mean, and that's 2 months, 3 months, and let's see, June, July, August, you might not get your equipment back until August, and it just becomes more and more of a mess that I don't think people in the hierarchy of everything really think about that stuff except coaches, and it is tough.
Yeah, no, and we've talked about that. We've talked about that. The two things have come up, Joe, is that with the conditioning, and we're not fortunate to have a turf field. What would we do to our fields playing in the next month? So now you're going to tear up your field. You're probably not going to be able to get that back by the fall.
Right.
Now you're going to tear it up again in the fall. We talked about the equipment for ourselves. We have our kids buying their own jerseys. Okay. The seniors buy their jerseys, they get their name on the back. Well, they all do, but we have to start ordering that stuff here.
Yeah, right.
On my regular calendar, I got to have it done by February 1st. So we got to start talking about ordering uniforms for the fall, and then you're also talking about equipment. You got to try to get kids, they want to get their helmet fitted correctly, things along those lines. How's that all going to work? And now you're rushed. And you guys know as well as I do, when you start getting rushed and you're throwing things, you're going 100 mile an hour at something you're not quite sure about.
Yep.
You guys,
Right.
that's where some, mistakes happen, and you might overlook a few things here and there, but no, there's a lot to go into that. I agree with you guys.
All right. So IHSA comes to Jeff Reents and they go, look, here's the time frame. What do we do? What would you tell them?
I said, well, first off, get your input from a lot of people. But if you're coming to me with it, I would say I think it's a tough go right now. I would say that. I think be upfront with our kids. Tell us what you really feel. Where do you at the end of this thing, what's our goal here? Well, what's the best way to get back to, everybody's talking about normalcy. The big thing is normalcy. I just hurt too much, Edge, as I'm sure a lot of coaches do, for me to say, we just got to cancel this season. Boy, does that hurt. It might be an option, though. And if that is one of the options, I think, how can we get the calendar then, summer calendar, back to normal? And then, and I will say this, to those seniors that may not get the fall or winter season, boy, can we maybe give them a spring one?
Yeah.
Can we give them a little normalcy to finish their senior year, going after those sports and getting that done? Maybe we can get some low-risk sports going, medium risk, things along those lines. But there's no doubt about it, guys. The clock's about to strike 12, and I think we got some tough decisions coming. And hey, if somebody else a lot smarter than me, and there's plenty of guys out there that can figure out how to get us some games and things along those lines, that's great. But the positives and negatives are really starting to go one way on this deal. And, hey, we just like we say in our football program, when we watch film, we always have this saying, truth's the truth. What's the truth about the situation? And we're starting to see the truth starting to come out. And I think let's take a good look at everything and let's rescue what we can for our kids, but let's not put us all in a bad situation either.
Yeah, we had John Ivelo on last week, Jeff, and he basically was kind of saying that not so much cancel as an answer, but he mentioned the spring sports. That, again, being a baseball coach, we didn't have one last year, and I remember I said this a few times on this show. I remember sitting in the dugout when Governor Pritzker got on the air. We're watching it on one of the phones the coaches had, and one of the coaches turned to me and said, "We're not having a season." Even though he said the 2 weeks or whatever it was, he goes, "We're not going to have one." And it turned out we did not. To me, I use the word devastating, and even for football, for any athlete this year, it's going to be devastating. But I think more so for the spring sports guys too, but especially the seniors. And you're gonna, if this happens, I remember last year, of course, everybody taught online and stuff like that. You could see it in the kids' eyes, especially the athletes, that they just didn't want to do anything. And it was, they didn't want to come to class, or they came to class, but, didn't participate much. And you could just see the some anger, but a lot of hurt. And we're just in a situation right now where nobody gives us any answers. And it's just sad, like you said, and I totally agree with you. What are you going to tell the kids? You don't know anything, and you can't, don't lie to the kids. They can see right through that stuff, and you tell the truth. And my saying was, I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm never going to lie to you. You may not like the truth, but I'm going to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
You've got to, guys. I mean, and I first of all, we'll get to the question from Joe in a second, but you guys saw, I'm sure you saw the young man from Glenbrook North, Dylan Bartner, who committed suicide. Guys, that's always tough. And you guys, it's as tough on you as anyone because you're in the building. You know these kids as well as anyone. These are things you worry about, I'm sure, as a teacher, as an administrator. I mean, and the way things are going, guys, it scares me even more and more every day that these kids are struggling with this. And, it's one of those, Jeff, and I'm sure you can attest to this, and Joe, you as well, where you just don't know what's going on inside of people. And you try to be there and you try to talk and be open. And I keep, putting things up. If you need help, call. But boy, it it is just one of the really bad fallouts of all this. And guys, it scares me because so many kids have pinned so much hope on having a season here in the spring. And Jeff, I said a while ago, I'm not going to lie to kids anymore. If they ask me my opinion, I'm going to tell them, because I don't want to be that guy that continues to mislead. And that's got to be a really delicate dance for you guys every day.
No, it is. And, I made the point before, guys, it's, you got to be upfront with your kids, and you bring up the situation about the young man from Glenburg North, and what a tough deal. And I think for all coaches, I think they understand this, is when we are able to start getting our kids back in the weight room and things, whatever it might be, if they do cancel the season or whatever it might be, boy, what a job as coaches is we have to do to meet with our kids one-on-one. Hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
What's going on today? Don't forget my door's open.
Yeah.
Whether it's just like you, Ed, you're putting things out there for kids, and we want to make sure that door's open for all of those kids. And I cringe when people say, well, hey, it's sports, it is what it is, guys. And they kind of downplay it. And I can't imagine, for myself, playing at Morris High School football, and all of a sudden you're going to take that away from me. That's tough. And so, a lot of rescue work has to be done from a coach standpoint to keep communicating with your kids. But the truth is the truth. And let's not shy away from that. Whatever it is, we're going to have to deal with it. And you try to make a learning lesson out of it. You guys know that as well as I do. And a lot of coaches will do that. And then, when can we get back? I know, the minute I start thinking about this season, boy, we're having, how are we going to do this year? Some people come to me, Jeff, are we okay next fall?
Oh, I know.
Play. And with the way this thing is right now, you're walking on ice so much, you really can't answer that right now either.
Yeah.
Just because, our governor and people around him aren't, they're just not seeing the importance of it, obviously.
No, not at all. Joe LaPointe's got a question for us. By the way, you got to look at the SIU helmet in the logo there. Joe's son's hating plays for the Salukis, so he's a good man automatically. But Coach, Joe asked, worst case scenario, would a jamboree format work under the circumstances?
Don't know. Boy, I'd have to think about that one. And I think there was one edge. I think me and you talked about it a little bit, like kind of the spring ball thing. Is that?
Yeah, that's
a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe something. One weekend of jamboree, maybe a spring game with another team or two. I don't know how to organize all that. Be better than nothing.
Yeah.
By the same token, I keep coming back to this, guys. I keep coming back to time. Well, we're running out of time to put all this together, and then basketball, and everything else.
And even
what's going with it.
And Jeff, even from a recruiting standpoint, and all of us and all the coaches and the kids, they want senior tape. The kids need senior tape. Look, signing day starts in a couple weeks. That window's closing very quickly, and even if we went under the original schedule where we start in early March, I mean, how many of those schools are still going to be out there looking for seniors? Not many.
Right.
So,
and and heaven forbid, I don't want a kid get hurt in something. That would, you get hurt. We all know you get hurt now, and you're a college kid looking to play, start right away with the off-season stuff with the school. Boy, that puts in a tough situation there. But no, in Edge, you come up with the same thing. The clock's ticking, and it's getting close to midnight, and I'm not sure. I'm just not sure.
Well, one of the questions we've enjoyed asking the coaches that we've had on. So during this pandemic, I might actually ask you this off the air, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Have we developed a new hobby? Have we picked something up we weren't doing before? You got to do something to kill the time. So when you do have free time now, what have you been doing? Anything differently than you weren't doing before?
Well, yeah, I tell you, we always know that as coaches, we put a lot of time in, boy, and until you take the time off, you don't realize how much you do. So at the Reents household, the list came quickly from the head coach of the and so we started in the garage and we painted the garage and we got some things done there. Got a lot of yard work done, things along those lines. We took the wife and I took a couple weekend trips that we've never would have even thought about before. I've done some more reading, and to tell you the truth, guys, I went through a little bit of a period of, boy, maybe, because I did enjoy having a little time, at home, that maybe coaching, maybe I'm at the end. But then I started looking back into X's and O's and start looking at clinic film of different coaches. And one thing with technology, you can turn 100 different places to start learning some things. And I've just tried to get myself hopefully a little bit better from that standpoint. I've really enjoyed that. So that just tells me, hey, I'm still, the fire's still burning. And so, but it's definitely been a learning experience for myself. Obviously we're still going about this and making our adjustments as we go, but definitely waiting to get back on the calendar I've been used to my first 27 year coaching.
Yeah, you're right as far as all the free time that you do have. And again, I just with baseball and stuff, but what I missed was doing the games on the radio, and going up on the other side of the press box at Wilmington. I love that place, the baseball, football press box. And it on Friday nights, you just expected to go to a game, especially the first weekend, and you're home and you're not watching anything except, baseball of course was on, but it's just a hard thing to do to just do things. So you got to keep yourself active, and we've all had our honey-do list, Jeff. So,
oh yeah,
everything's in ship shape at the Rodeghero household too.
Yeah, no doubt. We can all relate to that, no question. Well, my friend, we're gonna let you go. We're gonna cut you loose, but again, great to see you. I haven't seen you in so long, and we're gonna keep fighting a good fight, and we're gonna keep our fingers crossed, and one way or the other, we're gonna get to see each other again on a field somewhere. I hope.
Yeah, no, and guys, that day's coming, and we'll keep positive as best we can.
Yep.
Feeling definitely not just for the seniors at Wilmington, but throughout the whole state.
No doubt, all sports do.
Really, yeah, all sports, and hopefully, hey, maybe we can get some sports play here before the school year's out. Maybe we can have some good graduation ceremonies.
Yes.
Yeah. And send our seniors out the way they should be, and we go from there. But as always, I thank you guys for everything you do for football in the state of Illinois, and always a pleasure to be on with you two. I appreciate it.
All right, Jeff. We'll cut.
Take care.
Appreciate you joining us. So there he goes, Jeff Reents leaving us. You all right there, big fella?
Yeah, I need a drink of water.
Okay.
I get choked up. Jeff is one of my favorite guys.
Don't cry. It's okay, Joe. He'll be all right. And again, we appreciate Jeff joining us and taking time. And like I said, it's just so tough for all these guys to have to deal with. And in the meeting today, and we talked. I mean, I wasn't surprised. I wasn't expecting anything. Everything I heard said, "Don't hold your breath. There's not going to be much of anything." But again, I just hope someone makes a decision one way or the other. Either put us out of our misery for the spring, or if you're going to do something, get a plan in place and stick with it. And part of the problem, as you know, is we don't know what we're doing from day to day because we're waiting for the government to tell us what the next step is. So
is the next step, Edge, is just Craig Anderson just on January 27th, if he doesn't get anything out of the state, says, okay, we're going to take the bull by the horns and we're going to try this. We're going to start February, whatever it was. And
I think it would have happened already, Joe.
Yeah.
I think they looked at the picture because remember we had that period back in, what was it, November?
Yes.
There were some rumblings there where they were considering that and saying, hey, look, we're going to start our own thing. And it didn't last very long.
No.
And you know, I don't. If you didn't go against the emperor by now, I don't see it happening.
That is a true statement right there.
We're tied in, and it is what it is. And for whatever reason, the government our state governor and government hates high school sports and restaurants. So
small businesses too.
Yeah, and bars and restaurants.
Yeah.
So it is what it is, and we're just going to leave it at that. From every other aspect, that's what Facebook is for. You can go debate that all you want, or my free message board to a point.
Yes.
So we always like to talk a little bit more about high school sports because let's face it, we're Renaissance men, Joe. We are. We have very many different things we enjoy.
You are the guru. I'm not. I'm just a follower.
I'm the guru of crap. What are you talking about? So as far as our other sports are concerned, wow, you were at work today. You missed an epic Bears postseason press conference today. Epic.
I saw Jeff did have his Bears cap on, though. He did have his cap on. Poor guy.
It was incredible.
You know, you talk about why we are Bear fans.
Kevin Bacon in Animal House.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. We have another.
No. Okay, that's a funny one too, but all is calm. Don't worry, all is calm. And I'm just thinking, and the house is on fire behind you, and you're like, we're good. We're good. Pace is staying, Nagy staying, everybody. Oh yeah, our defensive coordinator, who was going to be the scapegoat anyway.
Yes.
He retired, Joe. Retired.
Yes.
Now everything's fixed.
Oh,
so go Bears.
It just we're going to have the same stuff next year. I'm sorry to say it's going to be the same.
Oh my Lord, it was absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy.
I got in the car and turned the radio on, and that's all that was basically on there because I heard Inklings in the morning on Slocum in the morning when he did the sports when I was on my way to school. They were talking about that they heard rumblings that they were going to keep them all. And
yeah,
I'm going. You got to be kidding. You got to be kidding me.
No. So,
but that's the Bears. That's the Bears. They always do that.
It's family owned and it's their Bears, Joe. They're not our Bears. They're the McCaskey Bears, and they can do what they want. It's their ball. And if this is the way they want to go, and again, it's one of those situations where, okay, well, you're not happy about it as a fan base and don't go. Well, how many Bear fans are going to give up those season tickets?
No, that's what I was going to say. They fill that stadium, even though it's the smallest one, as you said many times. They fill it,
and they're going to. I think you could put 30,000 seats in there, and they'd fill it again. 30,000 on top of what's there now. So
sure. Oh yeah.
So
without a doubt,
it's unbelievable. So we have that to look forward to. The Blackhawks start tonight. So the shortened season, but it's good to have hockey back in one way or the other. And Joe, how about our White Sox?
Yeah, I got my shirt on tonight. And
he's not that chest just to puff it out. He's showing you.
I love all the moves so far.
I mean, and you've been a lifetime Sox fan. I've been a lifetime Sox fan. For all the years you've been following them, and you get your hopes up when it comes to free agency, and you hear all these names, and you think, one of these days we're going to get that guy. And it was always, we're in on Manny Machado, and here comes San Diego, and there goes Manny Machado, and he's gone. And we're gonna go after this guy, and then we get like Adam
Dunn.
No more mascara. So
yeah.
And you just, as a Sox fan, you're just waiting to get punched upside the head because it's never gonna happen.
Yeah.
And finally, Liam Hendricks, top closer in baseball.
Yeah, and we talked about this off the air. I like the move. We know how closers can be. We've seen enough of them on the south side. We've seen some good ones on the south side, though. We have. And
the one thing we have to say, and to be fair, you have to give Alex Colomé a ton of credit. Did a really good job here. It was a very good acquisition. he just scared me in the last year or so. As we've talked about,
Oh gosh, yes.
I give credit to my buddy Vince, my best friend in the world. Sorry, Joe.
That's
My
okay.
best friend Vince in the world, huge Sox fan. He said it a long time ago. Over his entire career, Alex Colomé has thrown 5 strikes.
Yeah. Like I said, if I'm hitting against Alex Colomé, I don't swing until I get 2 strikes. And before that, he'll walk me.
Right. He just buries that slider in the ground, and guys go chasing after it constantly, and they never hit it. And if they do, they ground out. So, and give him credit, he's still able to get guys out.
Yep.
But the path that this team is on now, you needed that backline top level guy.
I think it shows all the Sox fans of the intent of the brass of the White Sox that they're going to go for it. They're going to try to go for it.
You don't.
Nothing's guaranteed, as we know, but they're going to try to go for it.
You don't bring back a 70-some-year-old Hall of Fame manager if you're going to play around for 2-3 years and without going for it. Joe, they're going for it. Now, it might not be this year, but they're going for it.
Yes.
So, and that, to me, that's incredibly exciting. It makes the Adam Eaton acquisition a little more tolerable in my eyes.
One more guy we need, though.
Oh, I know who.
You and I talked to.
I know who I want.
Yep. We need one more guy.
Michael Brantley. That's who I want.
I know you know this. I said his name.
Yep.
In November.
Yeah.
I'd like to have him
because then you could DH him. You can put him in the outfield when you need him. God knows, with Hi Mom out in left field, anything can go defensively.
Oh yeah, we saw it last summer.
And don't get me wrong, I love Eloy. Eloy's one of my favorite players on that team, but you just find a way. And sadly, if that did happen, I think the odd man out would be Eaton, or not Eaton. It would be oh God, Joe, who's our fourth outfielder? Oh,
the guy that made the catch for the no-hitter, right?
Adam Engel.
Adam Engel.
So I think, unfortunately, in that scenario, Adam Engel would be the odd man out.
Yeah,
because you're not cutting Eaton. So
no.
But it could be interesting for sure. What's interesting about the baseball stuff, it's still really slow.
Yes,
Bauer's still out there. Springer's still out there. All these big name money guys. There's no movement.
And we've talked, you and I've talked on the phone many times, that the owners maybe they didn't make as much money as they did in previous years, but they don't want to spend that money. They didn't make as much as they've had in the past.
Yeah.
And the revenue from sales in the stadium and stuff weren't there. And they got the TV money, but then they got to pay the players that they have right now. And some of these guys are going to have to go maybe for 1-year deals and maybe not go for as much money as they thought they were going to get. And hopefully
that happened last year. That happened last year. There were a lot of guys on 1-year deals last year.
Right.
So that very well could happen again. As far as the Cubs are concerned, I mean, you keep seeing rumors out there about Contreras being talked about in trades. Chris Bryant, I think at this point, everyone is expecting him to end up being traded. But again, when you have the resources that the Cubs have, it might be a quote unquote rebuild, but it's going to be a Monopoly Park Place Boardwalk rebuild. It's going to be, they're going to keep a handful of their core guys off this team, and they're going to have the ability to go out and hopefully develop, the trade, for them being able to trade a guy that, I think everyone was surprised that Darvish got traded, but I wasn't, because you look at what he's done over the last year and a half. He's 34 years old and his stock has never been higher.
Right.
So you get those 3 high school guys and hopefully you develop something out of that. So I think between that and the money that they're going to have and the resources they're going to have, they built Cub World.
I was just going to say, they've built everything up around there.
Right. So, I mean, your ballpark's now a National Historic Landmark. You've got everything in place. You just need to develop what they've got going on. So believe me, there's going to be no tag days, I think, for the north side whatsoever.
No.
But as a Sox fan, I just think it's our time.
Yeah.
We've got a 3-4 year window here where things could go really well. I mean, pressure comes with that, and it's understandable. But you know what? As a Sox fan, what pressure? I mean,
I was going to say, we don't have any pressure. We just watch the games.
We don't really win much of anything. So it's like, okay, yeah, we want to win the World Series, but
sometimes I sit here like that too.
Same here. So
now my question is I know I'm watching the MLB Network and they put the dates up. Are the dates still solid in Major League Baseball?
They're claiming same report day for spring training. They're claiming same startup, same opening day, same everything. So we'll see. I don't know. It's, again, you've got the vaccine, and that's a whole other thing. I mean, the vaccine's out there, but do you know anyone that's got the vaccine yet?
No.
Neither do I. So
I know both you and I have registered to get the vaccine, but it's because the vaccine's there, but nobody wants us to take charge in the state to say, okay,
right,
we're gonna put it here,
distribute it. You gotta get it out.
You gotta get it out there.
It's not like you can go to your doctor and get a shot.
No.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. So we just don't know.
What happens, but you've got that. Hopefully that starts to take a hold. And I want to go to a game, Joe. Besides high school football, I want to go to a Sox game.
Yes.
I need a hot dog with grilled onions and a beer. I'm okay.
I'll take one with grilled onions and a Diet Coke.
Or a Diet.
I don't drink beer.
Do that too.
Yeah.
That too. Gotta do a beer every once in a while though. Got to.
I used to love hot dog Wednesdays. Weenie Wednesdays.
Oh yeah, dollar dogs.
Oh man. Yeah, I love that.
Good time. Yep. Next week, we'll be back. We'll come up. Dave Dwyer will be back. Dewey was flying back from California, so he could not join us. We will line up a guest or two, but we'll see. The next couple of weeks are going to be intriguing, to say the least, and for all sports, for IHSA.
Yes.
Because when they release whatever they release, I think it's got to be widespread, and it's got to be at least a somewhat detailed plan, and they're going to have to stick with it. And, again, if the numbers spike or, something happens, we'll deal with it. But,
yes. As most of the states around us have. I mean, it's just a part of life. And, Jeff used the word normalcy. I don't think we'll ever get back to normalcy for a few years. I really don't. But again, it's an opportunity to get as close as we can to normalcy and let these kids play.
And by the way, it is now an official show because Jeff checked in. Nickel Beer Night. Now, that I believe is a Cleveland.
Yes.
See, Jeff DeGraw, we had Disco Demolition. So
there we go.
We have our shame on the south side. But you guys had Nickel Beer Night, I believe, in Cleveland, and that was a complete disaster from what I remember. So,
with real
Nickel Beer Night, a complete disaster.
Real glass bottles, I believe they were too. Because that's how they used to serve them.
I love Cleveland. I do, though. I've got a couple of friends that are diehard Cleveland fans, and even they, yep, there you go. Even they have kind of admitted to me, you guys have made some really good moves. You got to basically divisions.
It's pretty hard for them to do that too.
Oh, especially with Lindor.
Oh yeah,
Lindor was one, but I think Carrasco was another. Carrasco was just very well liked by Cleveland fans. Kid went through a lot. He battled cancer, fought it, and just there was a real connection there with the fan base in Cleveland. And that one hurt. And then we turn around a couple of days later and sign Hendricks. And but you know what though? That's what Cleveland does though. They're kind of somewhat Tampa Bay-ish in that regard, where you look at their history and they've let a lot of big name guys go to free agency because they get to a certain money level and they just can't keep them. So
yeah, overall, they're probably one of the best 90s teams not to win a championship. I mean,
so I was looking, and you'll love this, Joe, and I think I told you this. Lately, I've been doing kind of a deep dive on 1970s White Sox.
yes.
And worked my way up to the mid 90s. The thing I didn't realize, I realized he had a good year, but I didn't realize how good of a year he had. The one year we had Albert Bell.
Yes.
He had a great year for the White Sox.
Yes.
He was like 40-something home runs, like 120 RBIs. He hit 320. He had a great year.
Yeah.
Why don't I remember that more? It just, I think maybe because he was a tier the 1 year.
Yeah, and problem child.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's,
But
Joe,
again,
yeah, I mean,
yeah, you're right. He did have a great year when you mentioned it to me, and I forgot about that too. I mean, it's just he could just flat out hit. If he had a personality, he would have made millions.
Jeff DeGrasse said it. Joey Bell was also good. He was very good. I said that 1 year we had him.
Yep.
He had an MVP type of year that year. It was him and Frank Thomas on that team. Pretty potent 1-2 punch there. I think they bat 4 and 5 or 3 and 4 that year in the lineup, I believe. So yeah, no, he was really, really good for the White Sox. So
I remember they did and Jeff would remember this, and I watched it a few times. They had the buildup of the Cleveland Indians where Albert Bell was there, the bell cow, and he was a problem. And somebody came up and said, "Why don't you cut him?" And I can't remember who the GM was at that time. He's on the MLB Network now. He said, "Get rid of him. He's the best player we got." And they built really the team around him.
Yeah.
I mean, they made some great trades and got Tomey and from the Phillies and Alomar from the Padres and that created. He was basically the Lone Ranger for a few years in Cleveland.
More useless trivia for you, Joe?
Sure, go ahead.
1972 White Sox, my guy, Wilbur Wood. How many innings do you think he pitched in 1972?
We said over 300, right? 320?
374 innings.
74.
Almost 400 innings. That's like
my arm.
A 5-year contract now.
Oh, like I told you, he pitched, started at two ends of a doubleheader.
Yeah. Yep.
And what was unusual about him too is he started out as a closer, and then they made him a starter, and then they put him back to. I mean, it was like just the reverse of John Smoltz.
Yeah,
and
I told you when I was a kid, one of the only times I saw Wilbur Wood pitch was a doubleheader, and at home, and he started the first game, and then closed the second game, and got a save in the second game.
And
he got a no decision in the first game, and he got a save in the second game.
And a couple stats that we talked about on the phone was his record and his complete games.
Yeah, it's amazing.
He was like 18 and 14, but
49 games he started. Yeah.
And we go, couldn't they hit a little more for him? Either that or he was giving up a lot of, but his ERA was good.
Yeah.
His ERA was awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing to go back and look at some of the old pitching stats. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. So,
yes.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up here. We got a minute or two to go, but again, I want to thank Jeff Reents from Wilmington for joining us, and everyone out there for IHSA sports in particular. You know what? Just hang in there because it's all we've been doing for over a year. So
yes,
hopefully someone will figure things out and make a decision one way or the other. And again, I'm all of us, I think everyone watching, everyone on this, feeling for those seniors, want those seniors to have a better finish. Unfortunately, that didn't happen for a lot of seniors last year. Sure as heck isn't lining up real good for the 2021 class either. No. But we'll stay positive. We'll keep our fingers crossed, everything else crossed, and we'll see how things go. All right, Joe. Anything else before we end this bad boy?
Where's this? Where are you going in Crown Point on Monday, right?
Yeah, I got my showcase on Monday. I tell you to rush out and register, but it's basically full. We're
at Crown Point. Because my son lives out in Crown Point now.
It's called the Sparta Dome. He'll know where it's at. It's
Okay.
Real big indoor dome kind of facility, and they've got like a football field, outdoor football field attached to it. Really nice facility.
Okay.
We will be out there. The only problem is don't tell your son to come by, because the only ones allowed in the building are the coaches, media, and participants.
Okay.
Due to COVID restrictions.
Yeah, well.
It's my dream, Joe. Get to have a camp, an all orphan camp with no parents. I'm kidding.
There you go. Your coaches probably say the same thing.
I'm kidding a little bit.
Oh, yeah, sure you are.
But yeah, that's the deal. So, all right, Joe. We'll see you next week. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We'll be back next week. We'll have a couple of guests, and Dave Dewey Dwyer will come back and give us some horror stories from his trip from the road.
All right. Take care. Take care, people. Thank you.
Bye-bye.